to our YouTube channel, and thank you so much for watching. As promised, today I was going to speak to you about 5 tips on how to become a better teacher. So again, these tips come from my own experience. They come from stories that I've heard of people coming through their teacher training and other clients. And so it comes from my own experience as a client and as a teacher. So the first tip to being a good teacher is get to know people's names. And fortunately, I have got one of those good memories. Give me numbers and the numbers go out my head, but names I do remember. I suppose it comes from my years of being in the police. So get to know people's names. So when I used to do paper health forms, I'd get them to do the health form, and then I'd see, oh, it's Mary, and I'd look at Mary's face and go, Mary, 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 so that I could remember that person's name, okay? And you should know that when you go somewhere and someone calls you by your name, like, oh my God, they remembered my name. And it just makes you feel welcome, it makes you feel included, it makes you feel important. Even if someone never comes back to your class and they've just come to give it a go and they don't come back, it doesn't matter. For that hour that they are there with you, it just makes them feel like they belong there and like you actually do care about them as a person. So that's my first tip, is remember people's names. I did get caught out. I'll tell you a quick story. I did get caught out, like when I first started teaching. And I think I just had an influx of people, and I didn't take the time to get to know their names. I knew some of the names, but not everybody's names. And then there was something had happened. I think I was changing booking systems or putting everyone on the booking system. I thought, oh my word, I don't know the people's names. And I had to now go, to go and find out their names. Very hard after 6 months to go and ask somebody's name. So I thought, how can I get their names? So I had all the names. I did have the people's lists in the, their health forms. So I did have a list of people on an electronic thing. And I just went up to them and said, oh, I can't find your surname. What was your surname again? And then the surname would come up, and then obviously I'd find their name. And I vowed then that I would make sure that I knew everybody's name in the class. And to this day, I still do. And I've had lots of comments from people that go, oh, do you know, it's amazing that you remembered my name and stuff. So that is my first tip. Nothing to do with teaching. And in fact, this goes for everything you do in the outside world. It really grips my shit when someone says, oh, I've just got such a bad memory. Take the time to learn someone's name. It's not that hard. And, unless you have got memory issues. But it's like, try and come up with the story. So when I was in the police and you used to get, you come across a lot of criminals, I used to give them nicknames. So I'm like, oh yeah, that's Simon. He looks like Jesus. Jesus, Simon, Simon, Jesus. And that is just how I remember the name. So I would try and come up with a little story that reminded me of that person. So really just take the time to get to know people's names. Because I think if you can't even be asked to learn someone's name, why should they spend money with you and be in your class? Tip number 1. Tip number 2 is eye contact during your class. So when you are teaching, and I know if you are one of those teachers that teaches Vinyasa or Ashtanga, can be a little bit more challenging, or because of maybe the position of your mat and stuff, but I still look around and I look at people and I get their eye contact, okay? But through the class, when I'm teaching, is at some point I will make eye contact with most of the clients at some stage in the class, okay? And as a client, I've been to a class where a teacher has done a whole workout and she's not looked at anyone in the class. And she's just done a whole workout on a mat on her own, basically, okay? So make eye contact with people. It makes them realize that you are looking at them, you are making sure that they're safe and that they are doing things correctly. So that's number 2, is eye contact with people. Number 3 is get off of your mat. So again, and I refer mostly to Pilates and yoga because that is my area of expertise, and we do Pilates and yoga teacher training, and this is some feedback we get from our teachers that go to their own classes and stuff. It's about their experiences as a client. So it comes from 2 sides. So Your mat is not glued to the floor, and there are times when you either need to move your mat position so people can see you better, or you need to go and stand somewhere else. So for me, the way most of my class is set up, a little bit different to yoga than is Pilates. So in Pilates, I have 6 mats down one side, 6 mats down the other side, and I'm at the front. So sometimes I want to make sure that everybody, including the people at the back, can see me. So in fact, I don't even use a mat. I just sit on the floor. I go and plonk myself into the middle of the room so everyone can see what I'm doing. And then I might do a couple of demonstrations and then get up and walk around. So again, I have been in classes where the teacher just does the whole session with the class. Like I said, and I know, like, I used to teach Pyo, and you do need to, it's like a lot of the body balance and all those kinds of things. You do need to practically do the whole class with the clients, because it's a choreographed routine. But if you see people are not getting things right, stop the freaking music and help them get it right, and then play the music again. Because if you don't slow it down and just fix those little things that are not right, either someone's going to hurt themselves, or it's just going to be a mess the whole time. So take the time to teach it properly. So get off your mat, or move your mat. It's not glued to the floor. So that is tip number 3. So just make sure that whenever you demonstrate, people are watching you. The amount of times, and it does happen when we get new teachers, because it is something that has to come with experience. So like demonstrating, everybody's off doing their own thing. And to be fair, my clients do it with me as well. I've got to like watch here before I demonstrate something. So that is tip number 3, move around your class. Tip number 4 is, it's a bit touchy in, I think, America. There's quite a big thing going on about it. It's about whether you or not to touch people. And what I say to people in my training schools is that it's a personal choice whether you want to be a hands-on teacher or a hands-off teacher. Now, I know it's a little bit different in Pilates than it is in yoga. But what I will say is, if you're going to be a hands-on teacher, you need to get your hands on confidently and positively. If you're going to be, just move that leg a little bit, then don't be a hands-on teacher, because that doesn't instill confidence into the person. So again, more along the lines of yoga, there's a difference between adjusting and assisting. Okay, because you might need to adjust someone so they're in the correct position, so they don't hurt themselves or something like that. Or an assistance is how you can help that person get into that posture deeper or better. Okay, so, and there's lots of schools of thought. I love being assisted and I love being adjusted, and that's me personally. I am a hands-on teacher. I adjust and I assist, and my clients like to be have hands-on. So I've never had anyone who says, don't touch me. I will give them a health form at the beginning when they join us, and on the form it says, there may be times that we need to get our hands on you to put you into a safe position. Is this okay with you? Yes or no? And we've never had anyone that has said no. What I will say though, is that I have got one client, I won't mention her name, although I know she won't really care, who, when she started with us, did not want anyone touching her. And that wasn't from a place of, I don't want anyone in my body. She was just that stressed that her body is like concrete. And, over 3 or 4 years of being with us now, she's like, yeah, you can touch me and I'm okay with that. But it's just because her body is so tight. And it's happened to me, is you get a teacher that just goes and pushes you into a position that is not safe at all. So like for me, the only time I don't want any teacher to touch me is if I'm a seated forward bend, because I've got ridiculously long tight hamstrings, and for me, I'm already at my edge when I'm in a forward bend. So the last thing I need is anyone trying to force my head to my knees, and that's the only time I will turn around and tell a teacher to do one. The rest of the time, I'm quite happy having someone give me a little bit of assistance in it. And then, so this client of ours, there might still be days where she's had a really bad week at work, and I might go over to her sister and she'll just give me this look, and I'm like, all right, it's a hands-off day. So you've got to know your clients, and you've got to be able to read people. I know in some classes, I don't know, I've never been to a class like this, and I don't know of any teachers in our area here that do it, but you can get like little cards that says yes or no. So yes, you want hands-on, or no, you don't want hands-on. And they just leave it next to the mat. So as you're doing your practice, maybe there's some, like me, I'm in a forward bend, no. Anything else, yes. So people can like switch cards for that. So decide whether you're going to be a hands-on teacher. Either be hands-on or don't be hands-on. There's other ways that you can cue. This is a lot of what we teach on our courses is, if you don't want to be a hands-on teacher, how else can you cue? So let's just say, for example, I'm sat here and I want someone to lengthen their spine and reach up towards the ceiling, but I'm not really doing anything. So you could say, and this could be in standing right, try and get your head to touch my hand. So there, you've given them the responsibility of getting into that pose rather than your hands putting people in that pose. So there are benefits of not working hand-on in terms of muscle memory, brain function, proprioceptors, and all that kind of stuff. But I could talk about that forever. And I've lost how many we've done. So I think this was number 4. So if you're going to be hands-on, be hands-on. If you're not going to be hands-on, don't be hands-on, but be confident in whichever way you're going to go. And then the last one is, remember that your clients, when they come to you for an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, however long your session is, and they are handing responsibility of their body over to you in that hour. They're also giving you their time in exchange for however much you charge. And I really don't think teachers take that seriously enough. Like I said, and I may get a little bit emotional because it really does upset me, is when I hear of people going to a class and the teachers are just working through their own workout, doing their own workout on the mat. They're not paying any attention to someone who's struggling in the back corner. And this person will never ever go to another class again, never. Because they've not been looked after, they've not been cared for. And if you are that kind of teacher, then maybe you need to find another job, because there's other teachers out there who will gladly take that person and look after them. So, take that more seriously. Take what you do for people more seriously. Take the hour that they give you, their time. It's something that they will never, ever, 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 ever get back. Time is the only commodity that cannot be, you'll never get it back. You can get more money, you can get whatever else, but time is something that they can never, ever get back. So, like I said, if you are going to be the teacher, maybe you've been teaching for 20 years and you're fed up, go and find something else to do. Or maybe you just got loads of qualifications, and because you're just trying to do as many classes as you can, go and pick the classes that you enjoy the most, where you're looking after your clients the most, and just teach those. It's really take ownership of the fact that people are in your class and you are in charge of their bodies and what they're doing. Okay, so if they hurt themselves, either you weren't watching, you weren't instructing properly, or you're expecting them to do something that's too much for them. There's probably more reasons, but those are the 3 that's just coming up for me now. So I love what I do, and I'm really passionate about what I do, and I love teaching. And if I see someone struggling, I'm like, oh, let's just stop this. How can I make that exercise more achievable for them? How can I maybe just move their body so that they can get into the position a little differently? So maybe not everybody can hold a plank and pull their leg through. Well, can you bring yourself down to your knees and swing your leg through? So there's lots of options like that you can do. Or, in Pilates, it's like, if you want to make it harder, there's the next level. But don't force yourself to make it harder. We want to make sure that our form and our technique is still good. So take responsibility for the people in your class, the time, and give them the best of you. And That is what will keep clients coming back. And it doesn't matter what is going on in your life. Clients don't want to know about that. You could tell them 6 months later maybe, but not during. I might tell a joke in the class or something, but people don't want to hear how depressed you might be, or I haven't told them that on the day. I put a smile on it and I give them that space for the hour. And actually it helps my own mindset, my own mental health when I do that. So I hope that has helped. That is 5 tips to being a better teacher. So I hope that has helped. And, you know, if you've got any horror stories that you'd like to share, if you've got any success stories of tips that you might have, then please share them, because the more we can help other people to be better teachers, then the more people we help outside in the big world. So lots of love. Take care.